Okay, there we go. That is off for now. CX4 is very balanced. I think the most balanced gun in the game is the Magnum, because it has a high skill cap. The rarity matters, right? It matters what rarity you get of a Magnum. Like if all of them were the strength of the gold Magnum, this would probably be S or S plus tier. So the rarity actually does have a factor. It is high skill cap. Like the bullets go where you're aiming, and the bullet speed's pretty good. But you do need to get used to like how fast you can shoot it to be accurate, and there's some tricks. The gold one, is nuts. It will one hit builds, so advantages to having like higher rarity ones. But the lower rarity ones will still two hit if you like headshot body shot someone. So or like right on the drop. So that's really important. So it's really good on the drop. Another thing is pistol ammo in general is you'll get 16 pistol ammo per box. So that's, more than 2 mags of ammunition per box. So really strong for the Magnum for sure. So if you just drop on a, say, gold Magnum or something and there's 6 people next to you, you probably have enough ammo to deal with all of them as long as you're hitting your shots. So it's very high skill. It has stuff that you can work on to get better with it, but it's not overly strong, right? You can get a 1 star and you can be garbage. You can, it's hard to pick up right off the bat, but you can one-hand it. It's pretty accurate one-hander. You can head peek with it. I actually almost think it might be S tier. I think we're going to put it in S tier. We'll leave it there for now. We'll leave it like here. I know we said we were going to start with the middle of the road, but we'll go with what you said, and we'll say that CX4 will go middle of the road. So CX4, consistent damage, very accurate. Time to kill is actually not as slow as you'd think it would be, especially if you're hitting your headshots. But it's definitely not as fast as I think any other gun in the game. It's probably got the slowest time to kill in the game. Yeah. CX4 kills the slowest out of every weapon in the game. So it's the slowest time to kill in the game, but works at most ranges other than super long range. Super short range, you're going to get outclassed by all the other guns. Very easy to pick up though, because the bullets go where you're aiming. You can hip fire with it. You can use the sights. You can head peek with it. It doesn't give any downsides to running around with it, like the AWP or the M60 that have the damage, or not the damage, but the movement speed nerf. And because it shoots a little slower, you don't burn through ammunition as fast. So I'd say that's a good middle of the road gun. It's probably, especially for newer players, maybe we'll make 2 tier lists again. We'll do another like new player tier list at the end of this. Chris, what's up? Thanks for the raid, Chris.
Hello.
How's it going, buddy? Oh man, I have to turn off the food. I always leave the food on because I am going to do VR stuff, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not going to. But then I forget to turn the food off. But the food doesn't work unless I'm. I could plug in my hands, but. Meh. How's it going, Chris? Have a good stream. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the raid. How did your stream go? I saw you playing Pop. Hope it went well. Wolves right now, of all times. All over the tier list, Wolves. You got onions. So done for Purple Game? Nice. How'd that go? I haven't seen you online very much lately. As an aside, guys, we just hit 4,420 followers. 420. So everybody blaze it. He's become that once in a blue moon streamer, but that'll be, the streamer that everybody still goes and watches. What's up, Golden? How's it going? They're making this tier list right now. For all of the, I think we'll do a high level tier list, and then we'll do a newer player tier list as well. Ended up bringing it back last game. Nice. Always feels good. Just had to warm up a little bit. So I was going to start with the Magnum. Oh my god. That thing's so loud. Ugh. Hope you're good. Yeah, I'm doing good. Taking the rust off. Yeah. Shake it off. So I was thinking Magnum was middle of the road, and I think it is, but I think it might be slightly higher just because of how strong the gold one can be. So we're going to leave it up in S tier a little bit. But CX4, most balanced gun in the game, right? Good for new players. Not too strong, not too weak. Has its perks, can head peek with it. Doesn't reduce your movement speed or anything. Jean Lamoth, 200 bits again. Thank you, buddy. Doesn't reduce your move speed or anything. Don't burn through ammo too fast because, it shoots pretty slowly. I mean, it feels so slow, but it actually got a rate of fire increase back in August, I want to say. So we'll leave that there. We'll kind of base everything around the CX4 in terms of how useful it'll be. I think we can put the... I'm trying to think if anything actually belongs in C tier other than maybe the knife. One range it's effective at. It cuts through shields. It can be a clutch factor for sure, but the range is low. The movement speed it gives you doesn't do very much. Yeah, usually just toss it out of your inventory as soon as possible. You'll probably break something in your house trying to get a kill with it. Like my blinds are broken, but that's because of the sword. But I think this is probably one of the only things that belongs in C tier. If they're... Do we even... Yeah, we do. Okay. I almost want to get rid of one, but I think 5 is the optimal number of tiers. So, we'll leave the knife in C tier. Useful only after hot drop. Yeah. I mean, it can be useful if you get rezzed late game, just for the sole purpose of late game everybody's out of heals. So if you get rezzed and you have a knife and, they kill your team, they'll be able to pick up 100 shields from your team, but if you have a knife, you can hit them once. If you get close enough. When I try to knife someone, I destroy my room. It's worse than Gorilla Tag. Yeah, that's another thing, is using the knife actually costs you money. So same with the Cyberblade, right? It's like, this weapon's strong, but I'm going to pay. It's like the people that jiggle peek really fast back and forth with the AK or with various weapons. It's like I see you like moving back and forth so fast, and it's cool that you killed me, but you now have sick drift because of that. You're paying money to kill me. It's a pay to win game. So we'll put knife in C tier. Let's we ended with heals last time, so let's do the heals. No, we'll end with the heals again because it doesn't make sense to switch to heals after we already started talking about the guns. Is the new MK skin worth it? Not yet. I don't know if it's gonna go out of the store tomorrow or when. But the sight still doesn't work on it just yet, so you have to hip fire it. I like the way the skin looks, but the sight doesn't work on it yet. Next weapon. Let's do all the rifles first. Maybe. MK. S tier. I don't know where in S tier yet. We'll move this around. I think it's down here because it has the potential to be so good. There's just a couple of things that are holding it back. I don't think it should necessarily be changed either, though. Maybe like the middle of S tier because it has consistent damage. It kills faster than the CX4. It's got actually a really good time to kill, especially if you're hitting your headshots and you get the burst frequency down. Doesn't consume like a crazy amount of ammo. The main things with the MK are... Oh, I moved the whole thing. That's why it was off-centered. The main things with the MK are how slowly it kills builds. Like 6 shots to kill a build is too many. Especially when the gray MK only has 18 bullets, so you're using a third of your magazine to destroy one build. Not worth it. But kills faster than the CX4. You can't head peek with it unless you have a gold one. So that's definitely something that brings it down a little bit as well. If I had to choose between MK and CX4, it's basically if I'm playing a pub lobby, I'd take an MK, but if I'm playing a comp lobby, I'd take a CX4 probably, because in comp lobbies it comes down a lot more to head peeking. Like you'll be able to kill someone really fast with the MK, but you're not going to get more than 2 bursts off before they get a build, probably. I recommend to get the MK skin before they take it out. The form factor looks so different. I don't know, buddy. I haven't used it because the site doesn't work. I have it, but I haven't actually I had it equipped for one game and the site didn't work, so I unequipped it. So I'm not sure. So MK will leave at the bottom of the S tier right now. In terms of all that versatility, it's not too versatile. Technically, it kills faster than the AK if you're good with it. Technically, the accuracy is good. But I'd say you usually aren't going to want to pick up the MK over something like an AK, a Gold Magnum, a Seiko, something, that sort of thing. It fills a mid to long range slot really well. And if someone's not expecting it, you can really burst someone, if you hit 6 headshots and someone that's 150. So it kills really fast. But can't head peek, destroys walls slowly. So it'll sit. I think it's already going to end up over here, like bottom of S tier. Like it's good, but there's a couple things holding it back. We'll do AK. AK S tier. Or S plus tier. S tier. AK is probably S tier because it is very accurate once you get the recoil, works at just about every range, has technically a slower time to kill than the MK, but you can deal with the accuracy and keep laser beams on someone pretty effectively at all ranges, whereas close range the MK will sometimes be hard to get the burst down and track people down. The AK you can, one hand over the wall and just spray a little bit, but again, 6 hits to kill a wall. I think overall it's more preferred because the MK takes a lot more patience to be able to use. Also, if you get a gold or purple one, the recoil and the magazine size are just so helpful. So I'll put that S tier. I don't think there's anything else to say about the AK really. The gray one always feels like it has 1 bullet less than you need to actually kill someone, so that's annoying. And we're not going to talk about red weapons at all here either. Red weapons are in a completely different boat, but that's how we'll start. We'll put the Magnum. Magnum's better than the MK, I think. But, yeah, Magnum's better than the MK. Is the MK a balance? Yeah. I almost want to drop the MK. Even though I know the MK is a good weapon, I still want to drop faster. When you say MK kills faster than the AK, are you counting pure headshots on both guns? It doesn't matter. If they were all body shots or all headshots, they do the same amount of damage blinds. The MK kills faster if you get the burst rhythm down, just in general. So if you hit all body shots on both guns, the MK kills faster. If you hit all headshots on both guns, the MK kills faster. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out whether or not the MK needs to go down a tier just because of all the things it's bad at, right? It's such a fun gun to use, but it isn't. There's so many things holding it back. Time to kill walls. We'll leave it and then we'll mess things around a little bit later. M60. S tier. And this is based on high level gameplay, not based on pub lobbies or anything. Make sure you put the M10 in B tier. Just because you're bad with it doesn't mean it belongs lower on the list, Pasta. You can make your own tier list that has everything in C tier except for the knife if you want. So with the M60, you know, the different rarities affect how fast the gun spins up. But and then the magazine size. But overall, the M60 does the same amount of damage. Like all of the rifles do the same amount of damage regardless of rarity. What will change is the recoil and the magazine, and then for the M60, the spin up time. The M60, though, at high level gameplay, will shred through walls, which is really important. The reason I don't put it higher than the AK, even though it does more damage than the AK and it is better at high level, is because it requires your team to know that you have it. So like it is a very support weapon. So I think it is very like a very good gun, um, but it is required that your team knows that you're going to be using it for it to be maximum efficiency. Can you explain the headshot advantage, or should the average player focus on headshot? I'd say probably not. Like, just go for body shots for the most part. Um, the there are some things to keep into account, like the headshot multiplier on SMGs really doesn't change the damage that much. Like, it'll change from 12 to 15. Basically, for the SMGs, headshots don't matter at all for shotguns. So headshots, if you headshot someone with a shotgun, it does the same amount as a body shot. That was changed a couple months ago, I think back in November. So no need to go for headshots with those. Pistols, headshots are awesome. Rifles, headshots are awesome. There's different multipliers. So like if you get headshots with a pistol, they do crazy amounts of damage. The gold 1911 will do like 45 if you hit someone in the head. But if you think about it, that's basically a quarter of someone's life if they have 200 health. So like if you can hit headshots with the snipers, the pistols, very good. Gold Magnum deals 100 in the head. 2 shots from a Gold Magnum will kill someone. So like if you can get the rhythm down, I think I have a clip I could even show. Let's see. Twitch clips.
Dude,
Yeah,
that person
Gold Magnum
was
right here.
glitching out so hardcore. They're shooting me through the wall.
Like just 2 headshots instantly. That person couldn't do anything. 200 damage instantly, that fast.
Was like glitching out so hardcore. They're shooting me through the wall.
Like if you can do something like that, if you can learn the recoil or like get ready for that type of recoil, the Gold Magnum is nuts. You can also head peek with the Gold Magnum. So headshots with pistols, amazing. Headshots with rifles, they help out, right? The damage changes from 17 to 25 with rifles, or 20 to 25 with the M60 specifically, but 17 to 25 for the AK, the CX4, and the MK. So it's worth going for. 8 headshots with a rifle kill someone. I think it's 24 for the CX4, 24 for a headshot. But overall, I'd say body shots are going to be better than going for headshots. Because something else to keep in mind is if you go for headshots, the recoil of your gun is going to kick it up. So if you get a headshot on your first shot, your recoil is already going to be aiming above someone's head. So you're already going to have to deal with that after the first shot. Where if you start aiming at someone's body, the first shot will hit, the second shot might even kick up into their head, and then you can like account for recoil. So it's a lot better if you're not used to recoil to go for body shots, or if you're not like trained on using the recoil to go for body shots for sure. Next, let's do the rest of the pistols, I suppose. 1911 is a god tier weapon, but at high level, it's not quite as god tier. It kills people very fast, and it kills walls very fast. If you get a 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star 1911, it kills walls in 2 hits. Yeah, no problem. Kills walls in 2 hits if you have a 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star. So that's crazy. You can burst through builds pretty quick. There is a fire rate cap on this thing that prevents you from shooting it crazy fast. But you can head peek with it. It does a lot of damage. I think I almost want to. We'll shift some stuff around in a sec too, probably. I probably want to put the M60 up in S plus for competitive. So this will be like a competitive tier list, probably. The thing with the M60 is you'll be spraying, so if your team is ready for it, it'll be great. But it also makes you way more of like a sitting duck for snipers, and everybody in high level will just destroy you. So 1911 can fire really fast. That's true. And the accuracy of pistols is really good. The main thing about it is if you just use 1911s like all game, like it's kind of the same with all pistols. If you use all of the pistols all game, you'll have probably pretty high damage, especially in competitive, but you might not have high kills. It's really hard to like finish off kills with the pistols. So I mean, if you're able to hit your headshots, it'll be great. But I think the main issue is, finishing off the kills themselves. I think we'll do... Man, I still don't know if I should put the MK lower than the CX4. Just because of the usefulness. I don't think I will. You're doing a sweaty pubs tier list? No, this is a competitive tier list. I hate the M60. It's overpowered and bad at the same time, right? Like, it's a very specific situation that it's good in that requires your team to know that you're using it, and it shreds builds. But it's, I don't know. It's bulky. Slows you down. It doesn't really kick in until after, like, the 10th bullet. It feels like every gun, like, outdamage. Like, it's a very specific use, but it is very, very, very good for competitive. And I think I'm going to drop the pistol, or at least the 1911, just for competitive. Because, again, people can build and get away so fast. We'll already start the PX4 in the B tier. Specifically for competitive. Like, no one's going to pick up the PX4 in competitive. Kills builds too slowly, doesn't do enough damage. People will be able to build away from it. Even if you fire it at the max fire rate, not worth it. Like, it'll be better to have literally anything else in the game. So, I mean, you can head peek with it, I guess, but you're just going to get your head removed with the Seiko. And that brings me to this point. The Seiko has been the best gun in the game since the game came out. The damage nerf really didn't do anything. With that being said, the Seiko ruins so many of the other guns. Like, I feel like we'd see the pistols used way more if the Seiko wasn't so unbelievably strong. Because if you think about it, like, the Seiko can tear someone's head off that's head peeking a wall. Well, pistols can head peek walls, right? So you'd probably want to, like, peek over the wall, fire some shots with your pistol, stay safe. Doesn't matter because the Seiko will hit you in the mouth and do 127, and that's going to hurt. Or even if it hits you in the hand, it still does, 70. So the Seiko, because of how strong it is, makes so many of the other guns worse. You want to peek over the wall with the gold Magnum? Nope. The Seiko can head peek over the wall too. You just lost more health from the Seiko. So the fact that the Seiko or the S85 is so strong makes all of the other guns worse, and I'm so tired of it. Like, I love the Seiko. It's one of my better weapons. I was, but from not even this past November, but like 2020 November, I was like, yeah, this gun's way too strong. This gun needs to be changed. This gun single-handedly lowers where the CX4 is on the tier list, where the 1911 is on the tier list, where the Magnum is on the tier list, where the PX4 is on the tier list. I'd say those are all the main. All the UMP maybe even too, because you do a lot of head peeking with the UMP. But because the Seiko can remove people's skulls and do so much damage, it makes all of the other guns worse. So that's my story with the Seiko. The reasoning is because it is effective at every range. The Seiko will outdamage a shotgun close range if you hit your shots. The Seiko will outdamage the op long range because you don't need to worry about lining up after the scope again. Seiko can be fired one-handed, left-handed, right-handed, both-handed, everything. Very strong. Doesn't matter. It's the best gun. It's been the best gun. That hasn't changed. I don't think there's too much else to say. You can head peek with it. The damage nerf that they added in, the only thing that the damage nerf really does is make the 1-star unbelievably frustrating at the start of the game. Because if you shoot someone in the head at the start of the game with a 1-star, it only does 92. So if you shoot someone that just dropped out of the sky in the head, you don't kill them. So that's frustrating. But other than that, the Seiko, like that, nothing changed at high level. The Seiko's still the best gun in the game. We got the pistols. We can do the op next probably. Seiko and gold P90. That's a good way to do it for sure. That covers everything. Honestly, if you had enough ammo, you could just go Seiko only. I've seen the op getting a lot more use in competitive than the Seiko lately. Post nerf seems to be because the damage is higher than the Seiko. Even starting at 1-star, it's easier to punish head peekers because of the scope zoom. So the reason that the op's getting a lot more use in competitive than the Seiko is because the way that competitive is set up with zone rotations and with how quickly the zone closes right now, and the range, like because of the scope on the op allows you to just steal kills. Like you hit someone in the body from across the map, you hit them for 70, and you just stole someone that hit them for 190, right? And you get a point for that. In competitive, like the op is a kill stealer machine. Fights happening, 300 meters away, you just scope in with an op, snag, see who they're shooting at, shoot them in the back, snag the kill. The op itself isn't, like, especially when the zone gets closed, I'm sure you guys have noticed how small and competitive the zone gets before, and there's still like 5 teams alive. And once the zone gets that small, the op is not effective anymore, right? You kind of want like the op for the beginning of the game, and then once you get to the second zone, you want to drop the op and find a Seiko, is what I'd say. It's just because, again, it's basically for kill stealing. And the range that it's effective at is pretty far, and you can quick scope with it. Well, yeah, we can go back to that argument of having offhand influence at 0 makes the op so much easier to use, and I'm jealous of everybody that plays with offhand at 0. But I'd say that the op is S tier. I mean, you can do the argument with technically the time to kill is one of the lowest in the game, right? If you're against a shotgun and you get lucky twice and you hit them with your shots, you win, technically. Versatility, though, it's mostly long range. Accuracy, sure, it's great. Fit and loadout is the other thing, as like once you get towards the end of the game, you're going to want 2 guns that you can use. You're probably going to want an SMG or a rifle, and you're going to want a DT, especially because of how small the zone gets, and the DT is really the only thing you're going to want when the zone gets small. Yeah, Seiko better than op, Clev. It always has been. Op is just a kill stealer. The other thing with the op is because of the bullet travel time, if you see someone far away with the op in a competitive lobby, and you shoot them, they're going to turn around and build a wall before you can get another shot off because of the bullet travel time. So I think, I'm trying to think if I want to mess anything around. PX4 is greater than 1911. No. If you go strictly by raw numbers of like time to kill, if you fired the PX4 at max fire rate, it has a faster time to kill, but the damage falls off faster, and like at medium range you're going to be shooting the PX4 slower anyways, so you can line up your shots better. So like medium range, it loses to the 1911. It only wins against the 1911 super close range, and only if you're spamming the trigger, so I don't think so. 2-star PX4. Yeah, the 2-star PX4. But these don't have rarities on them, so... Well, we'll move this around a little bit more once everything else gets put on the P90. Let's see. AK. I'm trying to think if I want to move something to S tier. Like the AK is really good, but it kills walls really slow. But it is a laser beam. Melt people. DT. I want to put DT in S plus tier because it is basically like you have to have one of these at the end of the game. The issue is it only works at one range, right? It's a close range gun. However, all of the competitive lobbies eventually come down to, you know, basically 1v1s inside the very end of the game. So, or inside a very small circle. So I'm going to put DT up here. Even though it's only good at one range, you need it in a competitive lobby to win the end of the game. Which kind of sucks. M10. Better again. I'm gonna put it below the 6 for below the 1911. And the reason is the damage is good and it feels, well, because the damage is good, time to kill is good, and it actually changes with rarity. If you have the gold one, it fires faster. It doesn't do any more damage, but it will fire faster and have less recoil. It's only effective at one range. Accuracy is pretty decent. Fit and loadout is... This is another one of those situations where the pistols are all lower on the tier list because the Seiko exists. The M10 is lower on the tier list than like it needs to be because the DT exists, right? Like if there's a DT and an M10, like a gold of each of them sitting right next to each other, you're going to pick the DT in a competitive lobby 100% of the time. Unless you're feeling especially lazy. So this gun is specifically lower on the tier list because the DT exists. Technically, it gets out damaged by the Magnum. Technically, it gets out damaged by the DT, the Seiko, AK, or MK and AK as well. So I suck at the DT, so I go for the M10. I use the M10 because I'm lazy and I don't want to flick reload the DT, and I don't want to complain about my DT reload failing. So I just use the M10 because I'm lazy. All right, should we shift anything around for now? Let's see. Seiko DT. I'm trying to figure out, like, the M60 should, just for the sake of competitive, go in S+, right? Like, this is just talking competitive. I think S+. S or S+. Yeah, we'll put S. We'll leave where it's at. We'll put it behind the Magnum, though, because if you get a gold Magnum, gold Magnum's going to be better for everything else. Kills faster at short range, kills faster at long range if you hit your shots, kills builds faster if you have a gold one. But the M60 has so much ammo, which is where it would kind of counter that, but I think the Magnum would be better. Knife's S+. Knife cuts through shields, so that's really useful. At the end of the game, when everybody's out of heals, could be useful. AK can handle everything besides snipe range. Yep, you're right. The reason, I don't know, like I want to move the AK up, but it doesn't feel like it belongs in us. I guess strictly for the you're going to take it regardless, right? If there's a gold Seiko and a gold AK on the ground, that's your loadout for the game, basically. Or if there's a gold AK and gold DT. If there's any combination of these three guns, those are the guns you take that game, right? If you find gold or purple, either of these. So I guess we'll move that up for one. The S plus tier is basically if there is a gold version of this, you take it. And you figure out a way to put it in your loadout. There's no reason not to. Yeah, we'll do all of the utility last. AK should stay in S. I would. The reason I moved the AK up is specifically for this reason. If there's a supply drop that comes down, and the supply drop is gold magnum, and I don't know, gold CX4 or something, you still have to like question whether or not you take the gold magnum, right? You're like, does the gold magnum fit in my loadout? Like, should I take that? Do I feel like, changing to a head peak loadout? Do I already have a Seiko, which is a head peak gun? Whereas if a supply drop comes down on the ground and it's a gold AK, like you're like, okay, I'm taking that. Right? There's never a situation where there's a supply drop that comes down and it's a gold AK and you're like, no, I'm gonna leave that there. Like never. Frags do belong in S plus because they like doing damage through builds. Oh yeah, my favorite. Just because you have to work with recoil. This is a competitive tier list, unique. So we're assuming that all of the players like Diamond Division tier list. So we're gonna assume all of the players know exactly what they're doing, and in those cases, recoil is basically negligible, especially if you have a gold one. DT. These are the guns that you want, right? Like, cross out the other 4 tiers if you see one of these guns. Like, do I have a gold magnum in my inventory, and did a, I don't know, gold DT come out of a supply drop? I'm picking up the gold DT. Better than Seiko in opinion, but it depends what you use. That comes down to what I'm ranking these on, Mindbaker, which is damage, time to kill. Op is great at that. Versatility, Op is long range, mid range, but all of the Diamond Division lobbies usually come down to very small zones, and in those cases, at the end of the game, usually you're dropping the Op out of your inventory, right? Like if you come down to the very end, like the very last 2 zones in a Diamond Division match, usually you're dropping the Op. Accuracy is great. Fit and loadout, again, the end of the game, you really don't want an Op in your inventory, right? That's why I'm keeping the Op in S tier instead of S plus. And then the Seiko, you can always have the Seiko, regardless of how big the zone is, how far away the enemies are. It's that versatility factor. Unless you have an Op. Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. Or you can make your own tier list, and you can just have the Op in S plus tier and have everything else in C. I'm using gold PX and sometimes purple PX in end zones. In competitive lobbies or in pub lobbies? It's the buff. The UMP is so good at mid and close range. UMP is alright. The time to kill is just very slow. It's great for head peeking. I feel like it's not a bad gun at all. I feel like, especially like early game, you're going to grab a UMP over a CX4. So let's do this. And this is basically the ranking, like, if I came across this gun, like, if all of these weapons were laid out to me in gold, or in a Diamond Division lobby, this is, like, the order that I picked them. Like, gold Seiko, yep, picking that up. Gold DT, yep, picking that up. AK, yep, picking that up. DT or AK, which one's better? DT is only effective at 1 range, so AK, maybe? Oh, they made all the orange guns OP, guys. I guess orange is really a legendary color. How did we not see this before? Frags are orange too, and frags are S tier too. What is this? Why are all the orange weapons like? Isn't gold or orange the legendary color in like a lot of games, like Borderlands and stuff too? What is this? You're taking it comp, huh? That is something Clev would do. So ump. And we don't need to fill out every single one of these tiers, right? Like, there can only be one thing in B, that's fine. It's just how balanced the game is overall. The P90 is S tier. The MP5 is... I would love to put the MP5 up here, but it doesn't have enough ammunition in the magazine. So the MP5 goes down here. Like even the gold one only has 30. The gold P90, for reference, has 60. And the reason that the P90 is above the MP5 is specifically for that ammo size reason, because they actually have the same fire rate, the same rate of fire. But if someone is spam building, you're gonna probably kill them with the P90 and not with the MP5. I think the MP5 is better than the MK. Like you can have laser beams that happen with the MP5 pretty well. I have a clip that I recently posted.
Alright.
Glitching out so.
Suits you. Some? Yeah. If you learn the recoiler of the MP5, then the MP5 is very good at like close and mid range. Very, very, very good. The main difference is of why it's not higher on the tier list is specifically for how quick it kills builds and the mag size. Like usually, especially if you have like a 1-star MP5 at the start of a game, and someone builds like 2 walls between you and them, you're gonna have to reload it before you can kill them. So rarity matters a lot. And if a gold P90 and a gold MP5 are next to each other, you're gonna take the gold P90 just because of ammo size. And again, this is comp lobby, which one you'd probably want to take. For the PX4, we can talk about that after we place everything. Does MP5 have higher rate of fire than the technically, according to the numbers in the game itself, they have the same fire rate. According to the numbers in the game. But the UMP has lower damage. It's dumps easier to one hand. This clip shows MP5 good.
Whoa, there's a kid here! You're such a little...
Yeah, okay. We clicked on it. I watched it. we didn't have the monitor on, but we'll leave the sound out. I mean, yeah, the MP5, if they don't have a chance to build or if they're in the air, yeah, the MP5 will destroy people. Yeah, not family friendly exactly. But the MP5 will laser people pretty hard. Yeah, I'll try to keep this pretty family friendly if we can. We also, yeah, I'll leave that. But MP5, if they don't have the ability to build, very good. Because this is competitive and people are going to be spam building, and people aren't probably just going to be going through the air, P90 is better. The sword. Where do you guys want to put the sword? I think sword's in the middle, right? The sword is it's only effective, so damage time to kill. Fastest time to kill in the game. The sword. It kills the fastest out of any weapon in the game. Which is why it's so frustrating to people to be against. Versatility. It's only effective at one range, which is standing right next to people. Do I have the ability to delete chat messages? I don't remember. I think I should. Yeah. Trying to keep it as family friendly as we can. But the sword. Between A and S tier, right? Yeah, can you just remove it, PlayStation? The reason is time to kill is fastest in the game. Versatility, only effective at one range. Accuracy, that one's frustrating, and we're not going to really talk about the accuracy, right? Sometimes it looks like it hits for 2. It hits twice. Sometimes it hits for 75. Sometimes it hits for 25. At least it always hits for 25 now. Fit in loadout. That's another thing. This is another huge thing, right? Like, if you choose to bring the sword in your loadout, you are either foregoing your DT or you're foregoing extra heals. Because you wouldn't take a DT sword. Yeah, I guess you could forego your utility as well, right? You could choose to not have your grenades. So, but this weapon alone will clutch games. You can 1v3 with this weapon if you put people in a situation that they have to 1v3 you, like inside of a building. So I'm going to put it like between A and S tier. Like, it's not overpowered in the slightest. It has one use, which is Twitch clips and clutching games. You can get around the map a bit faster with the sword out, but again, you're foregoing a weapon slot. So say you're running across the map, or like you have it in your inventory to run across the map faster. And everybody in the game, it's been like 3 minutes or so, everybody has loot. So now someone shoots you in the head and you have, like, you're foregoing your shield shakers to have the sword in your inventory, or you're foregoing something, right? So you already have less heals just by having this. So you're going to have to rely on that mobility that it gives you to be able to get away, I guess? Like, it really doesn't fit in a lot of loadouts. At the end of the game, if you find one, like if you just got res and you find one, amazing. Amazing gun, or amazing weapon to have. It's great. But I think not super overpowered, but not underpowered either. Like, it will clutch games. It will give you Twitch clips. Between A and S tier is where I'd put that. So this is the guns. Do we want to move anything around? So I'm gonna move the knife up. We're gonna say that C tier is the, you probably shouldn't pick this up at all, right? Like, knife cuts through shield. Like, they'll have their own uses. The knife gives you some mobility, and it cuts through shield. So at the end, at the end of the game when you just got rezzed, you can still get kills with it. It's not very unlikely, but it's still, worth it. Or worth trying. PX4 shoots fast. Technically has a really fast time to kill if you hit your shots, but it sucks against builds. And it is kind of hard to deal with the accuracy as well. Any clip for sword or knife? Let's see. There is the end of this one. There's a clip of the AK.
Hey, you guys.
Here's a clip of the AK.
All
This is
right.
why the AK is high ranked, right?
I got a nice vantage
Yeah.
point here, boys.
Yeah, I just. Oh crap!
Oh
I'm even
shit, you guys. Damn, bro, they're all there. Knock it down.
Oh, not.
Like, that's 4 kills with the AK, and it wasn't too crazy. Like, it was 4 1v1s, but the AK is really good overall. Let's see. There was another one that I had. I think it was one of these. Yeah, this one. So the sword, here's a use of the sword. Like, 2 people started pushing me, right? And it should have been a 2v1. Like, it should have technically been like a 3v1 here, but I built one guy out. I pull out the sword, and I just killed 2 people instantly. And this was a pretty, like, decently hard lobby at the end, too. Like, Satoshi just got knocked out by FX. Like, the lobby weren't bad players at all. But they're like, that's both pushed together. But sword, cuts through shields. Doesn't matter how much shields they have, it just deletes them. And then, pick up their shields. Oh, I'm full health. That's the craziest thing about these games, right? You get a kill in a 1v3 or a 1v2, you get 2 kills. You get so much benefit from that. Like, I'm missing 90 shields and 15 health. I just killed 2 people, and I just pick up 100 shields and heal. Like, I'm max health right now. In less than, like, a second and a half, I healed up all the way.
Dropping in. Yeah. Okay.
So, that was rough at the end. The sword can really, like, clutch out games when you need it to. That's why the sword is where it is. Hey, what's up, Jinx? Jinxywin. Jinxywin. Turn that off. So, sword, very, very clutch. And I think I have... There's a katana video on my YouTube that you could go watch. It's from the, the old version of the sword, the katana, which is a little bit different. Or no, it's for the Excalibur. I think I have one for each. But the Excalibur one, there's a bunch of different stuff that happens. So I can actually pull that one up for you guys too. The Excalibur won us a Diamond Division match all by itself. Let's see, where's it at? This one? Yeah. Yeah, so this is a competitive lobby. Not that one. And I'm sorry the video quality is bad, but this was before I changed the way that I was recording. But this is a comp lobby. Both my teammates are dead, 1v3. But comp lobby. And that was, all of... I think that might have even been... Was it you, Mindbaker? I don't remember who. But I remember which team it was. But the sword itself, like at the end of the game, very, 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 very strong. Is the Cyberblade slightly longer than Excalibur? I believe they're the same size, but don't quote me on that. Agua. How you doing, Galaxy? I'm not cutting off any chat messages, am I? Ah, it wasn't scrolling down. There we go. Is the curve on the Cyberblade changing hitbox? I don't know all the answers to those questions. That would be something that I'd need to check with the devs for. If there was any difference at all. I know the only thing that I know for certain is that the sound is different. I know the movement speed's the same. Obviously the blade itself looks different, but I'm not sure if the hitbox at all is different or anything. So let's get the rest of these items in here. Magnum is S+++ in custom modes with the damage up. You're not wrong. What's the question about MP5, P90, and up all having the same fire rate? I believe according to the stats that I was given, they are supposed to all have the same fire rate, yes. Technically speaking, they are all supposed to have the same fire rate. The differences are the MP5 does the most damage, the P90 has the biggest mag, and the UMP is the most accurate. But they all shoot at the same fire rate. The fire rate does not change with rarity, only the mag size and recoil changes. But I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, they all have the same fire rate. And that might be something that could be, altered. Maybe the MP5 should shoot a little faster, and the P90 should... Or here's the changes that I would make to, like... Okay, well, let's first make sure all the guns are in the right place, and then we'll talk about the changes I'd make to, like, get the gun in the perfect place, or to make it, like, a viable option. So Seiko, obviously the best gun in the game. AK, DT, get the flicker load. DT's the best close range in the game, other than the sword, but DT's not going to let you get that close. Gold Magnum. This is specifically the Gold Magnum, right? Like, if the Gold Magnum, like, if it only went up to purple, this would probably be bottom of S tier, but because the Gold Magnum exists, top S tier. M60, because of how fast it breaks builds and the damage output, is really, really good, especially in competitive lobbies. Op, very good, very high damage, very good at stealing kills, or like snagging kills from fights from far away or from mid-range. The only issue is, like, end game, you probably don't want it in your loadout. This and this is my opinion, this you might want in your loadout if you don't have the same settings as me. Because I use offhand influence 100% and motion dampening 0 usually. Or even if you did motion dampening 100. But if you have offhand influence at 0, the op's way better of a weapon overall. There isn't this like auto correction that you have to wait for, so you're able to actually quick scope if you don't have offhand influence on. It's very annoying that that exists, but makes sense why it does. So my op is probably ranked a little bit lower than it should be for a competitive lobby for that reason. We'll put the op above the M6. No, you won't. This is fine. This is where it should be. But yeah, if you have offhand influence at 0, the op is like twice as good of a weapon. P90, this is where it belongs, just due to how quick it kills builds, damage, but it is better than the MP5. If Big Box added headshot back to the M10, what do you think lobbies would look like? The exact same. I don't think it would change anything, especially not at comp level. It would still take 4 shots to kill with the M10, and that's... you're going to be dead to a DT anyways before that happened. Like the M10 would go up on this tier list and be better, probably above the UMP, but it wouldn't change the... like you're going to want a DT 100% of the time. There's no reason to pick a M10 over a DT. Air fights you would win? You know you wouldn't. Why would you win in air fights? That doesn't... it doesn't change anything about air fights. Huh? MK. Great gun. But kills builds too slowly. What's up, Junior Admiral? MK really gets screwed by this take 6 shots to kill a build thing. If they change that to like 5 or 4, the MK would be in a spot that I really like it. The UMP, it's good all around. Good accuracy. Good, I mean, consistent damage. You can one-hand it. You can fly with it. It's pretty accurate, whatever. It's just not good at anything. The UMP is just like pretty average at everything. Same with the CX4. CX4 works at a little bit farther of a range, does a little bit more damage. And the reloads for these are, neither of these are hard, which is cool. Yeah, the M60 has, you know, the 4-step reload, so it takes a little bit longer, but in comp lobbies, it's really not a factor at all. Let's see. 1911 better than the CX4? Yes, it is. 1911 better than the UMP? Yes, it is. And a lot of competitive lobbies just come down to burst potential, right? Like if a gun kills someone faster, you're probably going to want that gun, regardless of if you like using it or whatever. That's why the Seiko's the best gun. Like, even if you don't like using the Seiko's the best gun in the game. The 1911, you know, bursts faster than everything below it. The shotgun, we'll do this. Move this stuff around a little bit. Technically, the 1911 bursts faster than the SMGs. So I could move the 1911 up to S tier. We might do that. The other thing is like this, does it fit in a loadout, right? Are you going to pick up a 1911? Like you might have a lot of pistol ammo in your loadout, but are you going to want it? Because your loadout is probably at a competitive level going to be 2 guns. You're going to want a DT, and you're going to want either an AK or a Seiko. And if you don't have the AK, you could take the 1911. Like it could fit for one of these other guns, right? So we'll put the 1911 in this tier. And we'll put it does kill builds faster than these, but because of the mag size, we'll put it at the bottom of S tier. Move everything over a little bit to get it over here. Hey, G-Man. You don't think the CX4 should move up? Killed much more people. Oh, the PX4 than any other gun. This is a competitive lobby. Tier list. Like as the issue with the PX4 is you're never gonna pick it up unless you have to, right? This is a gun that if it's on the ground, even if it's like a purple, you're probably not gonna pick it up. If it's a gold, you'll be like, okay, do I have a slot? Do I have the pistol ammo? But if you have a Seiko, an AK, a Magnum, P90, MP5, 1911, like you're not going to use anything above it instead of it, right? And this is specifically for competitive lobbies. We'll do like a pub lobby one. I dropped Seiko to S since the nerf 2 headshots with the 1-star won't kill someone. The gold can't headshot body shot. The slight damage nerf really changed the clutch factor. Yeah, we talked about the Seiko controversy. We talked about it already. The 1-star Seiko not insta-killing at the start of the game is the main difference with the gun itself, I'd say. At the end of the game, and again, this is comp lobby, but the gold Seiko is going to headshot, body shot, kill someone at the end of the game because no one's going to be full health, full shields at the end of the game. Like people are going to be at like 190 or they're going to be at 150 or something. So it'll still headshot, body shot at the end of the game. Hey, County 6. The main difference is if you, and this has happened to me twice at least, as at the beginning of the game. It happened once against Cobra. At the beginning of the game, I dropped on a 1-star Seiko, and Tech 9 dropped like, I don't know, in Metropolis, not too far away. And while he was dropping down, I hit him in the mouth, and it did 92, and then he walked away and he healed up. And I was like, that's frustrating. That is the main difference that the Seiko nerf did, but end of the game wasn't changed at all. Mid game wasn't changed at all. None of the ranged was changed. The damage nerf itself doesn't really change anything because it's still 3 body shots with the majority of them. Like you'll hit someone for 195 with the purple one, but again, once you get to the end of the game, they're going to be missing some health. Yeah, it works at every range too, which is a huge thing. Like technically, it outdamages the DT if you hit your shots. Like hit 2 headshots with the Seiko before a DT user can reload their gun. So technically, highest DPS out of these guns. Technically, the only thing that has a faster time to kill than the Seiko is the Magnum and the sword. I actually think the Seiko is faster than the Magnum if you got a perfect reload with the Seiko. So, DX4 will work from a farther range than the UMP. I just moved the CX4 down. I'm trying to think if the CX4 kills faster or the UMP kills faster. I have a, it's an old list that had the time to kills for each of the guns. Let's see if I still have that. 1.29 seconds for the UMP and 1.56 for the CX4. So if you hit all headshots, the UMP will kill faster. Wait, no, this is before the CX4 changed to... Is it? 19 body shots to kill or 13 headshots to kill with the UMP. Nine headshots to kill with the CX4. I don't know. These two are pretty close together. We'll just put the M10 at the bottom of this list because nobody likes using the M10. You can go over here. And then we'll just like put these like right next to each other. Is the sword only where it's at during this be a comp tier list? The sword is where it's at due to it having the fastest time to kill in the game, and the ability for it to clutch out games if you have one at the end of the game. But like it's between A and S tier. This is like between these two. It's like right here. And the reason is the ability to clutch games, the ability to clutch fights in general, right? It ignores shields. So even if someone kills both your teammates and restores their shields to back to 100, the sword ignores shields. But it's only good at one range. Sometimes it doesn't hit for full damage, which is obnoxiously frustrating. And it doesn't really fit in your loadout. Like, you're not going to want to take 3 weapons and forgo extra shields. So that's where that's at. As for all of these items, shield sodas are the best healable in the game, and they're stupid, and they should be removed. Would you take the MK over UMP close range? I would, but I would be comfortable to do that. A lot of people wouldn't be comfortable because a lot of people don't use the MK. I personally would, but that would come down to personal preference, right? Technically, the MK kills way faster than the UMP at close range. But you could also head peek over walls. Like, it's going to come a lot down to situation. If there's walls nearby and you're having a 1v1, or if, it's the start of the game, very start of the game, no one has builds, there's no hard cover nearby, take the MK. Start of the game, there are hard cover, it's in Metropolis, you might want the MP or the UMP so you can head peek. It's going to come down to your playstyle and what you like doing. But as for healables, Shield Soda is the best healable in the game, and it's stupid and should be removed. I'm glad we all agree on that. The reason this is because you can hold 6 of them, which is 120 shields. So more than an entire bar of shields. They come in packs of 2, so it comes in 40 shields to begin with, which is very strong. It heals you pretty quick. You're able, if you get shot in the mouth, you can just duck behind cover for a second and a half, chug 5 of these, which will over time restore you back to 100. And you can even, while this is healing you, cover the angle again. Whereas like the shield shaker, if you get hit, you actually need to like back off and shake. Like, you can't shoot and shake the shield at the center. You can still shoot while you're shielding up from shield sodas. What's up, Aiden? Sure, this is going well. I think shield soda should be removed. It would change the game a lot. And I feel like them being in the game to begin with is, or the stack should be reduced to like 4. Like 4 shield sodas. Or even 3. I think that would make it balanced. Either remove them from the game or make it so they only stack 3. So you can recover 60 shields, right? They would restore you up to 60. And you can peek while they're shielding you, but you're not going to get back up to full from 3. I think they should either be removed or they should be changed so you can only stack 3. So it would actually force people to think, like, do I want a stack of... Because it's like, if there are 6 shield sodas laying next to each other, or 3 shakers, you're going to pick the shield... Like, you should pick the shield sodas 100% of the time because of their usefulness. So the stack should either be reduced to 3 or 4, or they should just be removed from the game. These things are way too strong. It's also another factor. This is another one of those, the Seiko's in the game, and therefore all of the pistols are lower on the tier list, right? The shield sodas are in the game, and therefore the op is lower on the tier list. And let's see, what else would be? The CX4 is lower on the tier list. And like, there's certain things that are in the game that just changed completely where the other things on the tier list are. Because you hit someone in the head with an op, by the time you get to them, they're going to be full health again. That's a good issue with the op, and that's why it's not S+ tier. Like, if they're mid-range, if you hit someone in the head with the op and you're like, oh, I just dinked that someone, say it's a gold op, right? I dinked them for 164. By the time you get to them, not only will they be full health and full shields, but if they have shield sodas in their inventory, they will even be able to shoot at you while their shields are coming back. So... Again, these things being in the game, like, actually lower where other things on the tier list are. Shakers. These are good. I really don't have too much to say about the shakers. You can hold 3, which means you can hold up to 150 shields in your inventory. But to use them, you actually have to stop fighting, right? If you get hit, you need to back off and heal. You need to take the time to heal. but you can hold 3, which means you can even hold more than you have for current shields. So I think that's pretty good. Like your general inventory should be like, if you can, 12 sodas. If you can't, 6 sodas and 3 shakers. So shakers are a good spot though, because they will heal you. You can stack 3, but you do give up watching an angle to use it. And they take they take a bit of time to actually use. So, but I think shakers are a good spot. Bananas, 50 health instantly, and at high rank, people deep throat these things so fast, they just like, they unzip the banana, they peel the banana so fast. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, eat. 1, 2, 3, 4, eat. Like if you shoot someone down to 2 health, bam, healed. they're healed before you can even push, especially if it's even if they're like 15 feet away, they'll be able to heal all of their health back. And this is another thing is like, at the end of the game, you hit someone in the head, you're going to want to push, but they're going to drink 6 sodas. That'll be the first thing they do, right? Because then they'll start generating those shields. And that should be the order that you use heals on. So this is a good lesson to all of you guys if it's the end of the game. You should always drink your shield sodas first so those can generate. And then you should get your, unless your health is very low and they're right next to you, and then you should do the banana. But if they're, pushing you and you have like 5 seconds, drink all 6 sodas and then eat a banana and then fight them. Because your shields will be a little bit higher from that extra half second from drinking the sodas. But bananas, 50 health instantly, very, very, very strong. And the fact that they stack 2 in a slot, so you can have 100 health in a slot, very strong. Zone grenades, meh. Like, can be useful. They can force people off positions. Technically, they do 100 damage, which is pretty good. But they tick very slowly. Like, unless people are stuck in a corner, this is probably only going to hit them, especially at the competitive level, for like maybe 5 to 20 damage total. At the end of the game where everybody's really confused and there's 2 of these going off, then it'll get a little bit confusing. So maybe A tier, but I don't. A tier is like this gun's. I don't know. B tier is something needs to change, right? Well, we'll put it in B tier because something needs to change about zone grenades. You need to either be able to hold 2, or you need it needs to do a little bit more damage. Like MK is good and useful, but at competitive it needs to kill builds faster. That's what it needs. I'd say S tier is this gun is probably right around where it should be. Frag grenades. These are stupid. Remove frag grenades from the game. Frag grenades deal 150, stack 2 in a slot, so you can have 300 damage of frag grenades in a slot. Will instantly wipe out builds. Feel like they're scams because they'll always hit you through builds or like through solid. Like they don't feel like they blow up where they should be. And pin dropping, they insta-kill people and they can't do anything about it. They add a level of... You don't even really need to play. You could just toss 2 grenades. These are also another one of those, if someone throws frag grenades at you, they need to put their gun away to defend against the frag grenade. Like if they don't have hard cover, here's the other thing. Because of what I was saying with frag grenades being scams, like they don't feel like they blow up where they should sometimes, right? So there's been times where instead of building, I've opted to try to get around hard cover and be like, I'm going to save my builds and keep my gun up. There's this hard cover I can get behind to avoid this grenade, and I'll still be at advantage. And then the grenade will, blow up on the other side of the wall, and it'll still do 150 to me, and then I'll die. Like, you have to put your gun away and build against these, even if it looks like it's not going to blow up on you. So, I mean, I think 1 frag in a slot would still be, stronger than a zone grenade. And especially in competitive lobbies where you can have 3 people with frags, that would still be very strong. But 2 frags in a slot, like you can have 6 frags on 3 people just using 1 slot each. They deal 150, which is nuts. They break builds, which is nuts. They have like a radius. Like you could kill an entire lobby, technically, with 2 frag grenades. Like the damage potential of these things is stupid. You can pin drop with them. Very strong. Health sodas. I don't know. B tier, but better than the zone grenade. The issue with health sodas is they take a lot of time to regen your health. And they do stack to 6, and they will help you rotate through the zone if you need to. But there's no reason to grab health sodas over bananas, right? If there's 6 health sodas or there's 2 bananas in front of you, you're going to take the 2 bananas just because of how quick you can heal with the bananas. If you're running out into zone, you might want the health sodas for countering zone damage. I think, so now, yeah, I think this is good. This is roughly where everything should be, and I'll talk about where or what I do to everything to make it more balanced overall. So we'll start, we'll do reverse reading. We'll right to left and we'll go upwards. Zone grenades either need to be more damage, or you need to be able to stack 2, so you can force, you know, if you toss 2 on the same spot, that forces people to move or take probably like 40 damage. You can't really pin drop with zone grenades, so that's not a big deal because they do take a couple seconds. Like these are balanced in terms of how they work. They just don't do enough damage, I think. Either not enough damage or you need to be able to stack 2, one or the other. Ah! No longer in Philly, thanks for the follow. So more damage or stack 2. Health sodas, add like a speed buff to them. Like maybe 10% speed buff if currently they're going off. And I don't know if that speed buff should be stackable. Like if you drink all 6 health sodas, if you should be increased by 60%. Or maybe like a 5% speed buff that, like, you know, if you drank 5 or 6 sodas, you'd be at 30% extra speed. And then if you had a sword, you'd be really fast. But again, you'd be foregoing the ability to have bananas for that. So add like a 5% speed buff while health sodas are running. That would also give them another use to be able to rotate through the zone. Knife, it is where it should be. Even though it's B tier, it is where it should be in terms of like, it is something that is in your inventory from the start. Like you don't need to find it. There's no rarities. The knife belongs in B tier, but that's fine. The PX4, make it do a little less damage, but let us dual wield it. Like if you find 2 of the same rarity, let us dual wield it. That would make it so that the damage output and potential could be insane, but you also forego your ability to climb when you're holding it, because you know both of your hands have guns in them. So reduce the damage slightly, but allow us to do the dual wield. And especially late game, that could be nuts. That'd be really fun. That'd be really fun too. M10, I think, is good at what it's supposed to do. It is a good weapon for newer players to use. It does decent damage. It can kill in 1 mag. The gold one is pretty ridiculous. I think that's where it should be. Like I wouldn't change anything about the M10. Shield shakers, I would maybe make them shake a little faster, but I think shield shakers are about where they should be. UMP, good. That's good. CX4, make the headshots do 25, but other than that, it's good. CX4 loses really hard to walls. You know what you could do to the UMP too? You could make the UMP kill walls a little bit faster too. Make the build damage multiplier a little bit higher. MK, make it take 5 or 4 shots to kill a wall instead of 6. And that would be ideal situation because the potential would be insane. The skill ceiling would be great. It would have really, really fast time to kill, but it needs to be able to kill builds faster. That is one thing that it loses so hard against. The sword is where it should be. But Here's the thing about the sword. I think the sword gives 25% movement speed when you're holding it. So the sword is where it should be, but if you change the health soda to give 5% movement speed, you should reduce the movement speed of the sword to like 20%. That way, the most movement speed you get from 6 health sodas in the sword would be 50%. So sword is where it should be, but if you do the change that I said to the health sodas, reduce the movement speed by 5%. Bananas. Here's a weird fix for bananas, because I think having 2 in a slot is like it causes you to have to peel both to be able to heal all your health back, but people can do that so fast anyways that it doesn't really matter. Reduce the amount of bananas you can hold in the slot to 1, but make it heal 75. That would also buff sodas a little bit, because it would give you a reason to hold sodas in your inventory instead of bananas, because you'd actually be able to heal back to full. So there's kind of a weird change. Or you could do like 80 health for, I don't know. What do you guys think about bananas? Weird question. What do you guys think about bananas? Any thoughts? Any banana thoughts? Any bananas in chat? You can make it so you actually need to peel each side instead of having to like peel all 4 from just one side. That'd be, that would be a good change. I always peeled every side, even after I found out about that change. I've only recently started just peeling one side. Good for revives too, yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe change the mechanics for like peeling so that you actually have to peel all 4 sides so people can't do it instantly. And either do that and still allow 2, or reduce it to 1 and increase the health you get to 75. Because the chances that you get shot down to 1 health are pretty low, right? If someone hits you with a gold op, that would hit you for 164. So you'd have 36 health left. So you'd still be able to heal to full from shakers and 1 banana, right? You still only have to eat 1 banana. So I think that would be fair. Reduce it to 1, but 75 health. 1911 is in a good spot. I think the 1911's fine. I think it is in a lower spot just because the Seiko exists and the Magnum exists. But I don't think that it matters too much. Like, you don't want every gun to be 100% balanced, technically, right? Like, you want some guns to be like, you want a shotgun to win against a pistol from a foot away, right? Like, some guns need to be better at certain things. So, I think the 1911's in a good spot. MP5, increase the mag size to like, I don't know, 36 for the gold one. And increase the mag size accordingly for the other rarities. Or make it shoot a little faster. Or make it kill builds faster. But other than that, the MP5's, like, the MP5 feels good to use. The recoil is obnoxiously easy to learn to deal with. It's just a straight line. Especially holding it two-handed. But it just loses out because of the mag size of the P90 and how fast the P90 can shred builds at competitive. P90, I think the P90's in an okay spot. I think it's pretty good. The mag size is huge on this thing. But overall, I think it's good. You could increase the amount of shots it takes to kill a wall by 1 because the mag size is so big. Or keep the amount of shots to kill a wall, but just reduce the damage by 1 point. And I think the P90 is pretty good. I don't think it needs to be changed. It's probably fine. The op is good. It's a pretty good spot, but it gets outclassed by the Seiko just because of late game. The change that I'd say for the op is make it so the purple and gold op kills walls in one shot. I think that would be an interesting change, because having to shoot a wall twice, you know, at high level, people have, you hit someone one time, there's already a fortress between you and that person. So, but overall, Ops in a good spot. M60, you know, it has to work with the team. Very good gun. I think that's in a good spot. Magnum, gun skill matters and rarity matters. That's in a good place. Like, a lot of these guns are in a good place. Magnum's in a good spot. 1911's in a good spot. A lot of these are good. UMP's in a good spot. It's all good. DT. I don't know, man. Reduce the damage back to what it was. The issue with the DT and the M10 is they keep doing two changes at once, right? Like, they changed the way the reloads were, like Season 2, when Season 2 started, they changed the way that reloads worked. And they, so the M10 got obnoxiously strong for that. And you got the ability to flick reload the DT to like reload it nutty fast. When they did a change back in November for the DT, they made it so they buffed the DT damage back to where it was, because they nerfed the DT damage for Season 2. So they buffed the DT damage back to where it was, and they reduced the headshot multiplier for the M10, which nerfed the M10. Like, they keep doing two changes at once, which I think is bad. I think if they had just done the headshot multiplier change, then the DT would be in a good spot. But the DT right now, it's weird. I would almost like want to remove the flick reload from the DT. Like, leave the damage where it is, but remove the flick reload, or leave the flick reload and reduce the damage back to what it was. AK is in a good spot. Even though it's S+ tier, it loses to walls. It might not belong in S+ tier. It might only belong in S tier. I think it only belongs in S tier. Like, you're still going to pick it above everything else. We'll do this, right? Yeah, there we go. Seiko and DT need one-hand nerf. That would be something. Forcing, okay. So you know how the crosshair changes on the DT when you like hold it with another hand? Anybody in chat that doesn't know this, but that crosshair actually doesn't change anything. Holding the DT with two hands versus holding it with one hand doesn't actually do anything for the bullet spread. You can actually go test that if you want. I think that either adding that as a factor, so make it so, you know, it actually does affect the spread if you hold it with two hands, would be a good change for the DT. You know, you can still shoot it one-handed and get that fast flick reload, but the spread is going to be wider if you do that. So what I do for the DT is I make the spread wider. I'd either remove the flick, lower the damage back to what it was, or make it so that the spread that it has right now is only the spread when you're shooting it with two hand, and make the spread worse when you're holding it with one hand. Like, it should still be reward you for, you know, getting accurate shots, but it should be one-handed shotgun. Come on, guys. And then the Seiko, it's the best gun in the game. I'll say the thing that I've said since November 2020 about the Seiko, which is it should require two hands to shoot, guys. 100%. Buff the damage back to what it was and require two hands to shoot it. And that would make the Seiko still the best gun to take at all range. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen how fast I can shoot the Seiko with two hands, because I used to still shoot the Seiko two-handed. Now I've completely changed to just shooting it one-handed because it's just so much faster. But once you get the reload down two-handed, it is not very much slower at all than the one-hand. Like, people are like, oh, it'll lose the ability to rapid fire. It really doesn't. Like, you can drill people with this thing once you learn the reload. That Seiko, I would buff the damage back to where it was and then make it require two hands. So, recap. Zone grenades you should be able to get either two, or the damage should be buffed slightly. Health sodas are in a good spot, but should give you like a 5% movement speed stacking for each health soda up to 5 or 6. Knives in a good spot. PX4, reduce the damage slightly, but allow us to dual wield it. If you find two of the same rarity, I think that'd be cool. Or maybe even two with different rarity, but that might be too hard to code. Oh yeah, two hands would also remove Seiko's ability to head peek, which would be massive. Which is head peeking is annoying enough to deal with, guys. M10, in a okay spot. Would you guys change anything about the M10? Make it so that the M10 could do a max of... No, I think M10's in a good spot, actually. I think it's a good spot. UMP, wouldn't change anything. Maybe make it kill builds a little faster. CX4, in a pretty good spot. Could make it kill builds a little faster. MK, make it take 5 or 4 shots to kill a build. Give M10 the headshot multiplier back. I don't know. I think that would just swap the DT and M10 back and forth. And you still want the rest of the guns to be viable at close range. Like, you want to be able to take a P90 or an MP5 close range. So I think if the DT got nerfed slightly, it would put all of these guns... Because the reason the M10 is so low is because the DT is so high, right? Like, if there's gold DT, gold M10, you're going to take the DT. And this is a comp. Again, this is a comp tier list. M10 is so boring. Yeah, but sometimes I'm lazy. But the M10 is lower because the DT is higher. If you nerfed the DT or if the DT got changed... Okay, here's the thing. You could just do the same thing with the spread for the M10 that you have at the DT. If you hold the M10 with 2 hands, it has reduced spread. And I think that change would nerf the DT a little bit and then do the opposite for the M10. So like the DT, keep the crosshair, keep the spread that close if you're holding it with 2 hands and make the spread worse if you're holding it with 1 hand. But the M10, make it so that the spread is the same if you shoot it with 1 hand, but then make the spread a little bit closer if you shoot it with 2 hands. Actually, yeah, I think that would be worth it. So that would be the change I do for the shotguns. 1911 is in a good slot, I believe. DT is too strong, hits too hard at ranges it shouldn't. Usually only the purple or gold ones because of the spread. But I think that's the thing, though, right? If you do the spread change that I just talked about, that would fix that issue. Because the reason the DT hits for 36 at 50 feet is because the pellets are so close together, which you could fix by doing the spread change, where you'd have to shoot the DT 2-handed to be that accurate. Which, if you think about it, would be fine. Get the hell out of here, buddy. So I think the spread change would fix that issue that you're talking about, Soup. Because people would actually have to aim with 2 hands to get that same... They wouldn't be able to head peek over a wall and get 36 from range, right? They'd have to jump peek the wall, grab it with their other hands and shoot it to get that 36. And if they're jump peeking a wall, they're going to get their head removed by a Seiko, right? So I think that the spread change that I was talking about would actually fix that issue. MP5, make the mag size bigger, or make it shoot a little faster, or make it tear down builds faster. One of those 3 changes. Not all 3, just one of those 3. P90, pretty good overall. Maybe make it do 1 less damage because of how fast it kills builds. Slap reload on the MP5, that'd be cool. Op, make the purple and gold op kill, or you might even be able to do this with all rarities, probably not, but make it so the op kills builds in 1 shot. That's the only change I'd make with the op. I think overall the op is in a good spot, but it's the walls, especially at high level, when you hit someone 1 time and there's a fortress between you and them. The op works well with the M60. If you have someone spraying walls with an M60 and you have someone else trained on them with the op, and you get a shot that goes through the walls because the M60 is shredding them, that shot's huge. So, pretty good. But maybe remove that. Make it so it only takes 1 shot to kill a wall. Gold Magnum, or Magnum in general, perfect spot. The gold one rewards you for being hella accurate. The other rarities are all, they do damage and they reward you for high skill. So Magnum, good spot. Even though it's S tier, good spot. AK, good spot. Even though it's S tier. All of these guns are kind of clumped up here. You can see them all. Banana, either make it so you actually have to peel all 4 sides instead of just peel the same side 4 times to eat it, or make it so it only stacks 1, but it heals you for 75, one or the other. M60 S tier. Yeah, this is a competitive tier list, Soup. So yeah, M60 S tier, because if you have a squad mate that has an M60, it is that wins games. That's how you win games. Oh, we skipped the sword. Sword is where it should be, but if you do the soda change, where the soda gives 5% movement speed, then reduce the sword's movement speed to 20% instead of 25%. Just so you couldn't get up to 55%, you'd only be up to 50 extra movement speed. Frag grenades, I think you could reduce frag grenades per slot to 1. I would honestly say remove them from the game because they're stupid. Because you remove frag grenades from the game, you make it so pin dropping with grenades, like you can't instantly die to pin dropping with grenades. Soup, go away. You're not allowed to join this. You're not allowed to join this pin dropping conversation. But either reduce frag grenades to 1, or just make it so that they weren't so scammy. Like these hit me through builds all the time. DT, the spread change. So make it so that the spread is worse when holding it with one hand. It could even be the same when holding it with 2 hands, but you got to make it so that the spread is worse when holding it with one hand. And that would make it so that would fix many things with the DT. That would make it so it doesn't do so much damage while head peeking from range. That would make it so you have to 2-hand it, which would slow down your reload by just a quarter second, which would balance it out. And it would make it so that the M10 would perform a little bit better against it. Do you notate all these recommendations? I mean, I'm making this video right now, or I'm making this stream right now, so I'll probably, honestly, I'll probably just compile this into a standard video that I just throw on YouTube as well. And then the Seiko, make it require 2 hands. Like buff the damage back to where it was, make it require 2 hands. Requiring 2 hands would fix it, so it would still be just as strong. You'd be able to headshot, body shot to kill someone with like the purple, like you used to be able to, but you wouldn't be able to head peek with it, and that's the biggest thing. The weapons you should be able to head peek with in this game are the UMP, the CX4, the Magnum, the 1911, the PX4. The fact that you can head peek with the Seiko by default reduces how strong all these other weapons are. Like the PX4 would be a better weapon if the Seiko was worse. That's the thing, right? Because at the end of the game, you might want to head peek a wall. And if there's a Seiko and a PX4 next to you and you can't head peek with the Seiko, you'd want to pick up the CX4 or the PX4 in the situation. So the fact that the Seiko is so good makes the PX4 worse in a way. So, but Seiko, buff the damage back to where it was. Make it require 2 hands. Those are my competitive tier list. That's my opinion. You can tell me it's trash. This should be removed from the game. Any mechanic that can kill someone without the other person being able to react or deal with is not fun. And I feel like pin dropping, I don't know. Pin dropping has been weird because I've only been playing in Metropolis lately, so it hasn't been happening a lot. Very much, at least in all of the Metropolis lobbies that I've been playing. I've been pin dropped like once maybe. So I'll need to, like, once Metropolis isn't the common mode, we'll need to see how often pin dropping happens. And if that, because they added like a sound effect when you're falling really fast, right? So I haven't been able to test how big of a difference that makes, but maybe you have an opinion on that, Soup. Okay, so yeah, here's a competitive tier list, guys. Competitive. So this isn't gold division. This isn't purple division. This isn't red division, which is going to be a thing. This is diamond division tier list for guns. And I would actually, for diamond division, I drop this down here, just for the reason that I drop it like in front of the MK. So this is the diamond division tier list, specifically for. Yeah, we'll leave it up here. I just don't think you can get kills as easily with the 1911, but it's very strong. But this is the Diamond Division tier list. This is my opinion for Diamond Division tier list. Now we can make a casual player tier list. Or should we make a casual player tier list, or should we make like a pub lobby tier list? Any rarity callouts, like imbalances such that the tier list breaks down at different rarities? Not really. The the 1-star DT belongs in B tier. That's for sure. The 1-star DT, garbage. The gold Magnum is the reason the Magnum's up here. 100%. Rarity doesn't matter, rarity doesn't matter, rarity doesn't matter. The gold M10, probably the front of A tier. The gold PX4, still garbage. Gold M60, it spins up faster, doesn't do more damage. Gold Seiko, I mean, it's not really going to kill anybody faster. Like, it does a little bit more damage, but it still takes the same amount of shots to kill. And roughly at the end of the game, it'll take the same amount of shots to kill. Gold AK, less recoil, more mag, but doesn't really break the gun, right? It just lets you shoot longer. So yeah, the rarities don't affect the guns that the rarities affect the most for are the Magnum, the DT, the M10. Gold Op always feels good, but it doesn't really change the gun, right? Like 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star, like blue, purple, and gold are all 1-shot body shot, 1-shot headshot to kill. It's technically the same amount of shots. It'll just do more damage. So technically, like, it feels better to use when you hit someone for 164, but doesn't actually change the gun all too much. Gold CX4 doesn't really have recoil, so that's cool. Gold 1911. Okay, so the 4-star 1911, very good at the start of the game because it'll still hit someone in the body for 25, but something to keep in mind, the 1-star, so the gray 1911 takes 3 shots to kill a build instead of 2. The 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star take 2 shots to kill a build, but the 1-star takes 3 shots to kill a build. MK, the difference from 2-star to 3-star is huge. I mean, it's just recoil. It's just recoil and mag size. The whole thing for the MK is again, the amount of shots to kill a build. It's 6. And the 1-star has 18 bullets in the magazine. So it takes a third of your magazine to destroy one build with the 1-star MK. But overall, like, you know, if you're hitting your shots, it doesn't affect anything. Like the recoil, if you're holding it with 2 hands, still manageable. You just got to get, you know, it's different muscle memory, but the gun's technically not worse, right? You have to reload it more. So I think, yeah. Seiko, again, the damage change, it's like the op. The damage changes, it feels better to use. You're going to, the 1-star Seiko belongs in S tier. Just because you can't kill someone. The 1-star Seiko still belongs in S+ tier. The Seiko's so strong, man. It's crazy. But yeah, the rarities I'd say that matter the most are these 3. Because you have a gold Magnum, that's 100 damage in the head. You have a gold Magnum, you destroy a build in 1 shot. That's huge. This is the gun. This is the revolver, right? This is the Desert Eagle. This is the wingman in Apex. This is where it should be. It is high skill, high reward. And if you get the gold one, it is, you know, that is the best gun in the game, technically. Other than the Seiko. Best gun in the game. I'd say that the gold Magnum is the best gun in the game. Like, if everybody was a perfect player, and you're not including like swords, just from a damage point of view, gold Magnum is the best gun in the game. It is the highest skill cap, but highest reward in the game. You outdamage the DT if you hit both your shots in the head. You outdamage the Seiko because you don't need to reload between shots. So as long as you can account for the bounce of your shot, you win against the Seiko. But the Seiko can head peek you back, and that's the issue. And the Seiko hits you for 127 in the head, where you only hit it for 100 in the head. But you 1-shot wall, so it's like a trade-off. But yeah, this is the gun that matters the most. The DT, you have a gold DT, you can shoot it faster. The time between shots is less. You have a gold M10, the rate of fire is faster. You just hold the trigger on this thing. All right, Let's see. We said sweaty pub tier list and new player tier list. We'll make them both. Sweaty pub tier list. Sweaty pub. We'll just do the sweaty pub tier list like real fast. Because the thing about sweaty pubs is you're gonna have good players, but they probably will push you. Like they're not gonna play like hyper competitive style. Do. Here's the sweaty pub tier list. All right, already. That's what you're gonna want if you're in a pub lobby, generally. Sword is higher because people don't play as safe in sweaty pubs. Like they're all rushing for kills, right? Everybody's trying to get like high kill games and stuff. So you can like bait people into corners and you can bait them into buildings and kill them. In a diamond division match, you can't do that as easily, but you can still clutch, but it's way less likely. But I think the sword's higher. Maybe not the top of S tier, but it's definitely an S tier for pubs. It's like this maybe. So the sweaty pub tier list. It's out of text. Sweaty pub list. There you go. Here you go. Here's your sweaty pub tier list. I'm gonna undo all of these to go back to the other tier list so I can make the this is what it was, right? And yeah, that's right. So now we make another one that says Diamond Division tier list. This is the Diamond Division tier list. Here you go. I wanna. Yeah, I think it's fine. I want to put the MP5 below the MK just because of how fast they can kill builds, but you can one-handed the MP5 so much easier. But here's the Diamond Division tier list for me. Again, this is me, in my opinion. And then, lastly, let's do the new player tier list, shall we? So, new player tier list. And I'll explain why I'm putting all of these where I am. All right, and this will go here as well. And then for these, we'll do this. Okay, so here's the new player. So, new player tiers. All right, so the reason that this is CX4, really easy to aim, feels good to use, very accurate, can shoot one-handed, can shoot two-handed, can head peek, but people don't really head peek at easy mode, new players. UMP, very accurate. Don't need to manage the recoil very much. And you'll notice that the main differences are like recoil control for like high level, and then head peaking and builds. Recoil control, head peaking, and builds. Main differences. M10, you hold the trigger and they die. This is a fully automatic gun. If you guys didn't know that, you can actually just hold the trigger with the M10 and they die. If you are a new player, keep that in mind. P90, lots of bullets, shoots real fast. Op, new players are actually ridiculously good with the op because it is, there's a crosshair where it's aiming. If they get to the point where they know to like use motion dampening or turn motion dampening on, new players will hit their shots with the op. It's actually pretty interesting how accurate they are with the op. 1911 does a lot of damage, but I think it's actually going to go below the AK. AK, a lot of recoil, but a lot of damage. MK, people usually some people I've run into more people that prefer the MK to the AK actually, so we'll swap these. But AK, good. It's just a lot of recoil to deal with. Doesn't kill builds very fast, but people don't really build a level. You can't really one-hand it very easily. That's why it's so low. The MK, it has a scope. It has a nice scope on it, and people know generally to hold it with two hands. I don't know. We'll swap them back. Just because people can't fire the MK at like optimal fire rate. MP5, it's great, but you have to learn the recoil to be able to laser beam people. Seiko, all the new players shoot the Seiko with two hands, which is fine, but they can't, they haven't optimized the reload and they don't head peak with it, which is why it's low. It's a good gun. DT, people are not quick with the reload. They, usually the way that I see, I've watched a lot of people, newer players, shoot with the DT. And the way that they do it is when they're pushing someone, they'll shoot 2 shots with their DT and then they'll swap guns. They don't even try to reload their DT. They shoot both their shots and they swap to an AK or a P90 to try to finish off the kill. P90 recoil, really tough for new players? Yeah, definitely. And a lot of new players only use one hand when they're shooting a lot of guns. M60, if they know to hold it with two hands and if they know to keep firing it, the thing about the M60 is this gun is nuts once you're spun up. It takes I don't know, the gold one takes 4.5 bullets to spin up total, max fire rate, or maybe it's 3. But new players usually either tap fire this or they only fire 10 bullets and then they stop. The secret with this thing is it has to be fired for 20 bullets before it's useful, so keep that in mind. Magnum, a lot of damage, but people just don't fire it effectively. They don't head peak. They're not 100% accurate. So P90 recoil is easy for me because it goes straight up. The P90 recoil goes straight up and then it makes a weird box and then it goes up again. It's really weird. The AK is the one I have most trouble with. Yeah, AK recoil is like a lightning bolt. It's kind of weird. And the recoil between some guns is actually different on different consoles, I think. The Oculus, I was having a way easier time aiming the AK. PX4 just doesn't do enough damage to be useful. Knife, I don't think I need to explain that. Healables, frag grenade, we're not going to put anything in S+, because new players will probably often frag grenade themselves. A lot of new players don't understand that the line that appears with grenades also tells you where the grenade will explode, generally. But I'd say overall, we'll move the banana down because it does take a long time for newer players to heal with the banana. The shaker, people know how the shakers work. They can usually heal. They're usually trying to do it mid-fight, but you can't really fix that. Zone grenades are better than for Diamond Division for newer players because a lot of people don't understand which direction they need to run to get out of zone grenades, or they just sit inside them and burn. They don't understand what's hurting them. Shield sodas, they're okay, but again, healing is almost above brand new players, right? They're looking to pick up a gun and get in a fight. Healing is usually what the next step once you get used to a game, the next thing you need to learn. If you think about Apex, everybody in Apex is a good shot, but the next tier that will put you in plat division aside from silver or gold division is resource management and healing. You get shot, you back off to use a shield battery or something like that. So this is what I'd say. And then health sodas, they don't heal very fast, but newer players don't really get away, right? Like two teams have a fight and one team dies, and then the other team reses and heals, or another team third parties. There's not usually a situation in the newer lobbies that one person hides or gets away. It's just even if one player only has 20 health left, they're gonna run in to try to kill a full health enemy. That's just how the newer players play. So I'd say this is the new player tier list. Sword. I don't know where to put it. Here, maybe? It's good, but a lot of new players don't pick it up. It's probably like bottom of A tier, actually. Because it's good, and it'll give them the extra movement speed, but you have to be right next to someone to use it, and new players don't know how to position or how to approach to get that close to be able to actually use the sword. Like, very cool weapon, makes cool noises, but takes a lot of actual like thought process to figure out how are you going to get close to people. Kind of like a problem solving thing. So this is a new player tier list. Here you go. Makes cool noises, exactly. So we could raise it a couple of slots just from the cool noises point of view, right? I'm kidding. So this is the new player tier list. I think that covers everything. We got the Diamond Division tier list. We got the Sweaty Lobby tier list. We got the new player tier list. We could do the most fun to use tier list or most satisfying to use tier list. Maybe we'll save those for like next week or something. But I think this is accurate for the new player tier list. What do you guys think? And do you guys want to see, or do you want me to make another one? I think this is pretty good for now. I think this is good. The main thing with new players is they usually don't spend a lot of time in their settings, so they haven't messed with motion dampening, they haven't messed with offense. Like, they're just using default settings. I had a conversation in the training room a couple days ago where someone was like, "Oh man, I want to shoot my gun left-handed, but every time I do it, it swaps my movement to my right hand, and I hate that." Like, oh well, you can actually fix that by just ticking this other setting that only shows up once you select left-handed. And they're like, oh. Like, a lot of them don't understand the options. So maybe that setting just needs to be reworded to make it better for new players to understand that, you can't shoot left-handed and you can still control it with the left stick. Because that's what I do when I shoot left-handed. But I think this is good overall. Now, how long was that? Like 2 hours explaining this tier list? Sheesh. Okay. So this is all 3 tier lists. New player, Sweaty Lobby, and Diamond Division. If you guys have any questions, well, let me know. Or if you have any, you're completely wrong and you're bad, let me know. I think we'll probably call the stream there for now.